What's going on, y'all? Thomas, I'm back with another video. So in this video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, but before we get started, make sure to subscribe and follow the Twitch in the description below. Y'all been destroying it on the subscribers and the Twitch follows. We literally just hit 300 on our main channel. Yeah, it's also going to be my first video on the second channel. So if y'all want more tips and tricks videos just like these, make sure to tell me in the comments below and like the video as well. So right off the bat, our first tip is going to be very simple, but I promise you guys I'm going to tell you guys two very important tips at the very end of the video that are going to absolutely change the way you play town, because I use them all the time and they're really, really important. So right off the bat, I'm going to keep it simple. Very, very simple. Right off the bat, just stay aware, stay aware. So let's say we're gonna raid this house over here. Gonna raid this house. And you know that there's a guy at the top of the steps. Yeah, so you know there's a guy at the top of the steps. Don't tunnel vision and focus just on the guy that you know is up here. Make sure you're checking your right, you're checking your left, you're checking in here, looking down this hall. Because in town, the second you get shot, you're done for. You're done for. Like, there's very, very little time for you to react. So you always want to be able to stay aware, checking your corners, even as you're kind of going up here. Make sure you're kind of looking down a little bit too, because someone could pull up from pretty much anywhere. Yeah, because a lot of players in this game just do not stay aware. They don't know what's going on. They're just focused on whatever they're doing. Especially when you're crossing out in the open, you really got to be able to know kind of what's around you, especially without the ride shield. All right, the second tip I have is, again, simple, but just going to be always kind of make sure you're jumping. There are situations where you might not need to jump, but jumping helps a lot just because mainly it makes your footsteps a lot quieter. So I'll show you. This is kind of just normal running. And this is jumping. Now, it won't always make the biggest difference, but it definitely helps a lot because, I mean, your footsteps are just quieter. Your opponent can still hear the footsteps. I've tested it with an alt account. It definitely makes your footsteps significantly quieter. It's always good to stay moving. For example, if let's say the stop sign is going to be shooting at me right down there. If I'm jumping, even if I don't know they're there, even if I don't know, I'm just kind of running through this open space, it's going to be a lot harder for them to shoot at me if I'm jumping. I mean, of course, they're still going to be able to probably kill me, but it'll give me a few more seconds to react, to turn around, to look where I'm at, and kind of get out the way when I'm jumping, because it's just harder to hit. It's a lot harder to hit this than it is to hit this. Yeah, so always make sure you're jumping. Again, yeah, you don't, like, when you're shooting, you might not want to always be jumping. But I'll talk a little more about that at the end, actually. But for the most part, you want to be jumping. I mean, of course, if you're trying to fight someone, you don't necessarily need to be doing all this. But I'll explain a little more about that at the end of the video. So our third tip is gonna be use shift lock, and don't use it normally. What you want to do actually is turn shift lock on like that, shift lock, and then turn it off. And what this does is when you go into third person, it allows you to sprint while you're shift locked, which can be pretty useful because it's kind of janky normally. So basically, you can use shift lock in actually a lot of ways. But the main way which you're going to want to use it in is kind of like peeking in spots you know you're kind of dangerous. So let's say I'm getting shot at. So I just killed someone, and I'm running up the steps, and now I'm healing. Now I'm healing up here. Alright, so well, you can use shift lock instead of just kind of having to stay in this room. But what you can do is use shift lock and heal, and then know if someone's coming, just by kind of angling your camera like this and healing. So you can kind of stay in cover while still staying really aware of what's kind of happening. You can know if they're coming up the steps, and then you can know, or shoot, yeah. So if you see them coming up the steps, then because you're shift locked and you can see that, what you can do is kind of peek. Even if you just want to keep it simple, you just peek, kind of, and just kind of kill them like that. But they won't know you're there, but you will, and that gives you a really strong advantage. You can even do it in spaces like this, kind of like here, or kind of use it outside of windows as well. Yeah, but you can just kind of use it to see through, but you can't use it to see through walls, certain bases. It can help in certain scenarios. Usually it won't be too helpful, because the one downside is that you can see your body through the wall, which allows them your opponent to know that you're kind of looking into their base. But yeah, shift lock is very useful. Yeah. Our fourth tip is gonna be what I call window hopping. It's pretty simple, but I promise you guys it'll absolutely change how you play down. So in windows like this, pretty sure you guys already know, you can break them and go through them. Pretty simple, right? These windows, you don't really have to do much. But if we go to a window, actually, well, if you guys don't know, just to explain it, all you gotta do to go through this window is make sure it's broken, and then jump, and then just kind of walk through. Sometimes I'll like crouch or prone just to make it a little easier to go through. But yeah. So for windows like these are a little slightly more complicated. What you want to do is break the window, if it's not already broken, and then you want to like kind of run up and press yourself against like one of the panes. So you're kind of looking like, let me turn the time up, it's a little brighter. So you're kind of looking something like this, and then what you want to do is you can do it. You can stay in first person. Sometimes I just go in third. I feel like it makes it easier, but I'm going for, so just kind of press yourself up against the window, turn around, and then kind of jump and then press X, and then move backwards. Hopefully you guys can see the keyboard. The space bar, you can't see the space bar on the keyboard, but you can kind of see the rest of the keys. Might have to fix that. But again, press yourself up against the window, turn around, jump, and then press X. I promise you guys, once you get a little bit of practice in, you'll be able to get it. Just like that. You kind of want to get it down as fast as possible, because you can use it in a lot of creative ways. Because if, just say, there's a person at the top of the steps, alright, and they know, and they're watching, okay, yeah, there's a person at the top of the steps, and they're watching straight down, they can easily kind of get to you or shoot you if you try to push through the front door. But instead, you can window hop and then go through the pane right here, and they won't be able, or they won't expect you as much to be pushing through here as much as the front door. You can use like windows like here to really, like, if you kill a couple dudes, you can use it to quickly kind of go through this back window and just kind of dip out and flank your opponents. Oh, that usually doesn't happen. Yeah, flank your opponents. Actually, I'll touch on flanking. So, window hopping, one of the main uses of it is to flank and confuse your opponents a bunch. So, if someone's kind of, if you're on the steps and someone's pushing you from down here, you can shoot at them a little bit, maybe get a few hits on them. You don't kill them. What you can do is window hop, go down, and go around the house like this. I guess you could window hop again if you wanted to. You don't really need to. But the point is, you go around the house, and they'd probably be maybe going up the steps, somewhere around here. And you could easily get a free kill, because they wouldn't expect you to be flanking them. They'd expect you to be up the steps, not on the bottom floor. And that can, I promise you, it'll absolutely screw with your opponents. And even using like windows like these, you can absolutely destroy your opponent's mind, bro. They're going to be like, where is he? Just by simple things. Again, so if you're fighting him and they're shooting at you and you shoot at him, but you don't get the kill, you go through this window, then you pull up through another window. Oh, we'll just do this one, and then you can easily get a better sight on him that he just won't expect you to come from. And also, windows can be used just for moving around quickly. Let's say you're trying to get from this room to the front door. Instead of having to go down the hall, which may be a little dangerous, you might know people are there, you can just go through the back window, maybe loop through this window for just a little bit of different spot. You know, you get a few shots, go through this window. Wait, yeah, and then maybe just pull up through here, because it basically, windows just allow you to get a lot of different vantage points on your opponents that they just wouldn't expect for you to have. Yeah. And real quick, even these windows, these 8-pane windows over here, I'll just show you guys real quick. You can even use these windows. You can even window hop through these windows. It's the same process. It's just a little more difficult because the windows are smaller. Yeah, but you can still do it through these windows as well. You get on the roof. I find these windows a little more situational. Like, very occasionally I'll use them. I generally don't like to because the roof and you're vulnerable and stuff. But even in certain scenarios, they can be pretty useful. Alright guys, and the very last tip I'm going to show you is going to be probably the most important tip yet. And it's going to be movement. I think I might make actually a whole video dedicated to movement. But basically, all movement is actually a couple things. Using prone, crouch, and kind of strafing. Those are kind of the main things you're going to want to use in your movement. For example, let's say you're just pushing someone, you're just fighting someone pretty normal, nothing really special about this fight. The second you start shooting, instead of just kind of standing still and just firing, what you can do is kind of use your prone a little bit. Maybe move to side while you're pressing prone. And what this is going to do is just kind of screw up their aim a lot, because prone, it doesn't really have much of an animation. You're kind of just going straight down to the ground. And as you can see, the hitbox kind of like gets smaller. Like there's a lot less. I'll just turn off shift lock so you can see. But there's a lot less kind of to hit from you, and from all this to just this to hit. And if you're constantly kind of snaking up and down and moving side to side as well, it'll destroy your opponent's aim. It's going to be a lot harder for them to shoot you. It's going to be a lot harder for them to kill you. Or for example, if you're sitting in a room and you know they're going to push you, the second they open that door, you can start shooting, but you can start off prone from the very beginning. And what you can do, you can kind of stand up and then kind of move backwards a little bit, kind of strafe, kind of do that prone thing I said before. Like that. And you can kind of mix it in with your jumping. Like, so if you're pulling up around this corner and you see the person down there, you kind of see you're jumping already. You can do full prone and then kind of strafe a little bit. And it's going to really mess up the aim, because you're going to go all the way from up here to down here within just a couple of seconds. And then you're kind of messing around in the middles. And it's going to make it very hard for them to shoot you, especially when they only have a few milliseconds. Or, yeah, I think somewhere around there. A few hundred milliseconds anyway, to try to get their aim back on target. So that's why movement is really going to be one of the most important things in town. And if you're kind of confused on how to use it, just start off with something so simple. When you're fighting someone, just spam prone. Just spam prone when you're fighting them. And just move around a little bit. That's it. That's it. That's one of them, kind of pretty much what I use in almost every fight. I use prone a lot. Yeah, so movement. Please use movement. And you can mix it in with windows as well. Like, you can kind of strafe while you're shooting through the window. Yeah, strafing helps a lot. Just spam pressing A and D. You can do fast strafes, little strafes, longer, kind of. Yeah, but movement. Use movement in town. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope this helped y'all out. I hope y'all improved maybe a little bit at town. Tell me in the description below if these tips helped you improve. And I hope y'all will stay good. Make sure to subscribe to this second channel. More Top of Slime, which you're watching right now. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.